to our MCS Industry Pack video. In this video, we're going to look through the information that's provided in the Industry Pack, talking about the issues and options which may well be relevant to our pre-scene company, Pizzatime. Okay, so we're going to start by having a look at an overview of the market, and we've got a brilliant statistic here for you to use that by the 30th of September 2014, total sales in the USA in the pizza industry reached $38,524 million. So really substantial market. And looking down the page, we've then got a pie chart showing how those sales were made up, and we can see that actually a large part of those sales were made by independent pizza stores. That was 40.89%, with other chains at 20%, and then we've got our major players. We've got Pizza Hut at just under 15%, and Domino's just under 10%. And I think what's particularly interesting about this pie chart is just the size of the independent pizza restaurant or delivery company sector of the market. If we look further down to the next pie chart that we've got, this is actually looking at the number of stores, and again we've got a really large sector for the independent pizza stores. We've got over 50%. Again, other chains about 20%. And then again, our bigger players, Pizza Hut at just under 9%, Domino's just under 7%. We've also got some interesting statistics here for the UK, which would be helpful to you when quoting in the answers to your examination. So here we can see that Domino's, a large delivery chain, has 26% of the UK pizza market, and Pizza Hut, who are a restaurant chain but who also do delivery, have 25%. So this is in some ways similar to our pre-scene material, in that Domino's would be the pizza to go competitor. Pizza Hut we could align with Pizzatime. Okay, so moving on, we've got a table here detailing pizza consumption in different countries. But I just want to pick a few things out of here. Now, if we look at the first one, if we look at Turkey, it's commenting on that the ingredients here include olive oil, garlic cloves, onions, basil, parsley, and mincemeat. Now, this is basically showing how the ingredients used by restaurants for pizza in this country has been designed and adapted to local tastes. And in the article in the pre-scene, it does actually mention that this is something that Pizzatime is actually really good at. And obviously, if they go on to expand into new countries, something they need to continue to do. Now, one thing that we know from the pre-scene material is that Pizzatime is experiencing declining performance in its established markets, and it's moving into Sealand, which is effectively an emerging market for the pizza industry. And in this table, we've got some examples of some other emerging markets, in as much as we've got China, that's showing a growing demand for fast food. And we've also got Russia, where also it states that it's a growing market for pizza. So possibly some other countries here for Pizzatime to think about. Okay, so if we consider the nature of the market as a whole, we've got four options for selling pizza. We're going to start with the sit-down restaurant. So this is Pizzatime. And obviously it delivers an eating out experience for its customers. We've got delivery, which is the same as pizza to go in the pre-scene. And whilst there are sort of many benefits of delivery for the customer, one of the ones we noticed here is that it potentially saves the customer the drinks and desserts costs and the tip. So delivery could be a particularly good sector of the market to be in, particularly in times of economic downturn or recession, when customers are looking for a cheaper eating out option. And this could be a reason why Pizzatime really need to develop this side of their business, the delivery or the takeaway side, in order to take advantage of this benefit. Okay, then we've got carryout or takeaway. And this is where the customer actually goes to the outlet. They've ordered in advance and then they go and pick it up from the outlet and take it off-site to eat it. And we've got a statistic here that this market segment accounts for approximately 45% of customer orders in the USA. So a really significant proportion of the orders in that market. And it states here that, okay, the customer has travelling costs because they have to go and pick it up, but this option still saves them the delivery tip and the drinks and desserts costs. And lastly, we've got take and bake. Now, what happens here is the store creates the pizza as requested by the customer, and the customer then takes it home to cook it at home. And the benefits of this for the customer is they could actually combine getting their pizza with their normal weekly shop, so they haven't got additional travelling costs. And also, if they want any extra food or drink to go with it, then they can buy those at retail prices from other stores nearby. And this then reduces the cost of the overall experience. So looking at those four options, obviously Pizzatime is only involved in one of them, the actual restaurant business. So it could potentially be time to look at the other three in terms of engaging with different customers and their needs, which will be a way of expanding their customer base and therefore their segment of the market. Okay, moving on to look at factors which affect the fast food industry. And our first one here is economic downturns. We've mentioned that briefly earlier. And obviously, fast food restaurants seen as a cheap eating out option during times of economic difficulty. However, if the economic downturn goes on too long, people may even stop frequenting these. And it's at this point that the larger chains do tend to benefit because they can sustain reducing their prices long enough to keep customers coming to their stores and buying products, and possibly also have funds available that they can use to increase their advertising or produce offers that would keep customers coming. This option may not be open to smaller independent pizza stores. Okay, so we've also got labour costs, and as it states, many employees within the fast food industry are on the minimum wage. And obviously, if you're operating in a country that has a minimum wage, if for some reason the decision is taken to increase it, then obviously this can have a serious impact on your costs and therefore your profits. Okay, fuel costs. Now these can have a few different impacts on the food industry. Firstly, your suppliers may have to increase their prices to cover the cost of distribution. Your customers may not be willing to travel so far or so often to get to your fast food outlet. You may find that whereas they used to come twice a week, they're only coming once a week, and obviously that's going to affect your sales. And also, if you are a fast food outlet that does do delivery, then the cost of your deliveries will rise, and therefore your profit margin on those particular products is going to fall. Now obviously, as it stands, it's probably going to be only those first two factors which are going to affect Pizzatime. But should these costs increase, obviously every entity within the food industry has to make the decision as to whether they're going to absorb the costs, which will reduce their profit margins, or whether they're going to pass them on to their customers. But obviously by passing them on to their customers, it might make your food outlet look less attractive alongside your competitors, and obviously that may affect your sales. Turning to mergers. Now there's sort of two effects of the merger activity. The first is that companies within the food industry often use it to increase their market share, or it can be a way to reach new customers and new markets. Obviously, if the person that you merge with offers a different range of products, or perhaps they do a breakfast menu that you don't, or a lunch menu, then obviously it's a really instant way to get into those new markets and reach those new customers. Something else that can affect the food industry is the price of key ingredients. So similarly to our discussion about fuel or labour, the entities concerned would have to decide whether to absorb the costs, which again reduces their profit margins, or whether they're going to put the prices up, which obviously will affect their ability to compete with other companies. And obviously this decision may be dependent on whether they think it's going to be a temporary rise, which therefore they could absorb, or whether it's a long-term rise, which means that they may well have to make the decision to pass it on to their customers. Okay, and having talked about the impact of recessions, being in a period of economic recovery also brings its own issues, in that in these times price becomes less important in relation to other issues for the consumer. At these times, companies need to be really sensitive to consumer trends such as healthier eating, being innovative in their menus. And we've got some examples there. For the healthier eating, McDonald's added fruit and vegetables to their menu. And also they went on, in terms of being innovative, to add fruit smoothies amongst other things to their menu. And we can see for them that these two moves are really successful, in that their sales for 2011 went up by $1.5 billion.